Hello everyone, hello ACES, and welcome to our students and teachers. By the way, this video is intended to provide guide for the students in the new normal education with the use of modular distance learning and supplemented by videos from the DepEd portals and other educational websites and the teacher vloggers who uploaded their video presentation. Now, we will be dealing for today on the how to evaluate literature as a way of expressing and resolving of one's personal conflicts. This would be from the grade 10 English. Now, in unpacking the content, have you heard about a philosophy based on the mutual respect and kindness toward others? It's Confucianism. It was developed to bring peace and stability in society. How significant is it nowadays? Who was the person behind it? How can this text reveal some truths on how to turn challenges into golden opportunities? Let me briefly tell you on what is Confucianism. Confucianism is not an organized religion, but it does provide rules for thinking and living that focus on love for humanity, worship of ancestors, respect for the elders, self-discipline, and conformity to rituals. Now, in this particular video, we will be understanding one of the texts encapsulated in the world literature from the Analects by Confucius, translated by Arthur Whalley. Chu Kong asked something. Is there any single saying that one can act upon all day and every day? The master said, perhaps the saying about consideration, never do to others what you would not like them to do to you. The master said, if out of 300 songs I had to take one phrase to cover all my teaching, I would say, let there be no evil in your thoughts. The master said, high office filled by men of narrow views, ritual performed without reverence, the forms of mourning observed without grief, these are things I cannot bear to see. The master said, in old days a man kept a hold on his words, fearing the disgrace that would ensue should he himself fail to keep pace with them. The master said, he who will not worry about what is far off will soon find something worse than worry close at hand. The master said, shall I teach you what knowledge is? When you know a thing, to recognize that you know it, and when you do not know a thing, to recognize that you do not know it. That is knowledge. The master said, he who seeks only coarse food to eat, water to drink, and bent arm for pillow, will without looking for it find happiness to boot. Any thought of accepting wealth and rank by means that I know to be wrong is as remote from me as the clouds that float above. The master said, in old days men studied for the sake of self-improvement. Nowadays men study in order to impress other people. The master said, in the presence of a good man, think all the time how you may learn to equal him. In the presence of a bad man, turn your gaze within. Chu Liu asked about the treatment of parents. The master said, filial sons nowadays are people who see it that their parents get enough to eat. But even dogs and horses are cared for that extent. If there is no feeling of respect, wherein lies the difference? The master said, a young man's duty is to behave well to his parents and home, and to his elders abroad, to be cautious in giving promises and punctual in giving them, to have kindly feelings towards everyone, but seek the intimacy of the good. If, when all that is done, he has any energy to spare, then let him study the polite arts. Meng Wu Po asked about the treatment of parents. The master said, "Behave in such a way that your father and mother have no anxiety about you, except concerning your health." The master said, "To learn at the due times, to repeat what one has learned, is not about after all a pleasure, that friends should come to one from afar. Is this not after all delightful? To remain unsought even though one's merits are unrecognized by others, is that not after all what is expected of a gentleman?" The master said, "A gentleman does not grieve that other people do not recognize his merits. His only anxiety is lest he should fail to recognize theirs." The master said, "A gentleman can see a question from all sides without bias. The small man is biased and can see a question only from one side." The master said, "A gentleman covets the reputation of being slow in word, but prompt in deed." The master said, "A gentleman is ashamed to let his words outrun his deeds." The master said, "Govern the people by regulations, keep order among them by chastisements, and they will flee from you, and lose all self-respect. Govern them by more force, keep order among them by ritual, and they will keep their self-respect, and come to you of their own accord." The master said, "He who rules by moral force is like the pole star, which remains in its place while all the lesser stars do homage to it." The master said, "To demand much from the oneself and little from others is the way for a ruler to banish discontent." Now, that will be the Analects of Confucius for our most essential learning competencies in grade 10 English. That would be all. Happy learning and sulong edukalidad.